Oh snap! Welcome back to the Mystery Project. You're all live on YouTube, X, Rumble. We're live on TikTok over here as well. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you do all the things, whichever platform you're watching, do the things. YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like the video if you're new. And let's jump into this one, y'all. The Utah Karen who reported online trolls ends up behind bars. We talked about this one, I think probably last year when it happened. And it was that lady in Utah that saw the girl wearing the like short skirt or whatever. And she went and she like pulled, like she literally physically like pulled the skirt because she thought it needed to cover more.
How dare you!
Well, apparently she's in jail. So let's watch this and see what's going on here.
I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch her ass keep coming out again, I will call CPS.
Here's this woman I don't know who just came up and touched my bare butt. Like, I have no clue who this is.
I have to listen
Oh, hail.
to everything totality about everything going on. I've talked to Sakura. I've got some of their video. I've got the TikToks. I think most everybody in the city has that TikTok.
A Utah mom decided to take it upon herself to pull down a teenager's skirt in a crowded restaurant, insisting it was too short and that the girl was exposing herself. Well, when the girl's friends
Man, you sound crazy as hell, lady.
posted a video of the confrontation afterwards, as you can imagine, it quickly went viral. And what the woman did next got her in a lot of hot water with the police. We're taking you through all sides of this story, and you can decide for yourself if this former state employee was in the wrong. Ida Ann Lorenzo. That is a name that many people in Utah
Man, of course she was in the wrong. Are you kidding me? How could you be in the right? Thinking you can just go up and like touch somebody like that. I don't like where your skirt is. I'm going to pull it down.
Utah would likely recognize, but not for the reasons that Lorenzo would want. No, her identity was revealed online after she got into this heated confrontation with a group of young adults inside a restaurant because of what she did. She started this. Now, at first, the police weren't even involved in this, okay? It was just a viral video that might have meant some sort of consequences for Lorenzo's public image, not necessarily legal consequences, but maybe wouldn't have gone much further beyond that. But the thing about this was, it was actually Lorenzo who called the police, wanting them to do something about the torrent of abuse she says she was facing online.
Oh my God. So the crazy lady that did it is calling and saying, people are being mean to me on the interwebs.
How dare you!
Get over it.
So, our story begins on April 20th, 2024 at a Japanese restaurant called Sakura in St. George, Utah. It's crowded inside, and Ida Ann Lorenzo is sitting at the front waiting on a table. And that is when she spots a group of teenagers. And what does she do? She approaches them. Not to say hi, not to say I love your outfit, not to say anything nice, not to say how long you've been waiting for a table. No, she decides to tug on a girl's skirt, telling her she needed to cover up more in public. That really happened. That really happened. And when you do something,
How could you think that that is okay? I mean, even if it's your own daughter, that still wouldn't be okay. In public, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna pull you this thing down. No, keep your hands to yourself, lady. But a random stranger is gonna come up and say, I don't like where your skirt is. No, you're gonna go to jail for that. That is crazy.
like that.
Look at her
Young
friend right there.
girls, this
I think that's her friend, the girl's friend right there in the back. She got that face too. She's like, she got a lot of neck action.
day and age, what do you think happens? Someone is bound to take out their phone, right? Yeah, that is exactly what happened. The girl's friends started recording soon after.
Of course.
I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch her ass keep coming out again, I will call CPS.
Yeah, go for it right now.
He is 19 years old. We're all sitting over there. Yeah. You do not get to touch her. Really? We would love for you to call the police.
Go ahead and call the police.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it right now.
Over 18. I can see her, but we're all sitting over there. Yeah, I do. You do not get to touch
You do not get to touch her. Yeah, I do.
her. Really?
We would love for you to call
You
the police.
sound crazy, lady.
Call the police.
Her. Why are you
I understand, but you're not allowed to touch
no right to come over and say anything to anyone. She's of age, you have no right to, it's a public place, you have no right to come out of your way and do this at all.
And if you
Just
don't
leave her
do it,
alone.
don't dress like
Just
that.
leave her alone.
Don't
Just leave her alone.
It
You
has
have no
more
right
to
to
do
go
than
out
we're
and
at
do
a
that.
public restaurant.
100%.
We're all looking, we were all dressed up. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So
It
then
has
you have no right to
nothing
say
to do
anything.
with the independence of a woman.
Who are you here with?
Who's that? Is that like somebody that works at the restaurant? Like, man, lady, stop. You can't be this stupid.
I'm so sorry.
Now, the next day, a friend of the victim posted a portion of this video to TikTok, of course, where it went viral almost immediately. And as of May 2025, a little more than a year later, that video has been viewed more than 14 million times. The friend actually made a follow-up post as well.
At the end of the video, when I cuts off, is when the store manager comes up and is like, you need to sit down. Like, this is not okay. Keep in mind, everyone she came with is sitting on the bench, just like red-faced, so embarrassed. No one's coming to stick up for her. She's very clearly in the wrong. And she's trying to be like, all of us have to, you know, and we're just like, all of you, no one is here but you. Like, you're the only one that cares, you know?
So the teens wanted to find
Right.
out who the woman was. So what did? They posted the video in a local Facebook group. And she was quickly identified as the person we're talking about, Miss Lorenzo. And that is when this online trolling started. Lorenzo called police to make a report on the 22nd. And when the officer called her back to get her side of the story, the conversation was recorded on his body cam.
Hi, Ida. This is Officer Brown, St. George Police.
Hi, how are you, officer?
I'm good. How are you?
I've had better days, but thank you.
What's going on?
So I have a bunch of little 18, 19, and 20-year-olds harassing me. They got offended because...
You can't reap what you sow, lady? Oh my God. What if they decided to show up to your house and just start pulling your skirts and your pants and your shirts? By your logic, that would be okay because it was okay for you to do it in this restaurant. But now they're just like trolling you online and you're like, I've had better days. These 18, 19, and 20-year-olds won't stop emailing me. I have emails on top of emails. And I try to reply and it says you can't reply to this email. What's wrong? These people are crazy. Unbelievable that she's just, they won't leave me alone. Oh, a little taste of your own medicine, it seems. You.
We were at a restaurant yesterday in public forum. We were sitting on the bench waiting
Oh gosh, let's see. Let's hear how she tries to spin this.
to be seated. It was pretty packed because, as you know, the senior ball was yesterday for most of the high schools. And so I was sitting with a 10-year-old sitting on my left-hand side, my right-hand side, my boyfriend on the left-hand side, and nothing but the whole rest of the wall was filled with...
You have a boyfriend? Man, that dude... I feel sorry for that dude.
17 and 18, or 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. And a bunch of girls walk in, they go to make their reservation and are waiting to be seated. And one of their skirts were so short that as we're standing there, I see the 10-year-old pointing to one of them and you could see her entire and the butt cheeks and everything hanging out. And I mean, we were just sitting there, and I was shocked. I haven't worked for.
Then you take your 10-year-old out of the restaurant. There you go. Problem solved. You say, there are things going on in here that I am uncomfortable with my 10-year-old seeing. I'm going to be a good parent and remove them from the situation. There you go. And then if you are like, well, I still would like to eat my Japanese food. Well, then you said the boyfriend was there. Then you send the boyfriend back in to ask the management to what they can do about it. Because if the manager of this place went up and said, ma'am, everybody can see your whole downstairs mix up, you know, we're going to have to ask you to put something on or, you know, put a jacket around you or something, you know, something. Maybe they can do that. Or maybe they can't. And if they can't, well, then go somewhere else. What you don't do is go up to somebody else that you don't know, that you don't like what they're wearing, and then put your hands on them.
The state of Utah, and immediately,
yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh my God, that is completely inappropriate. We do not need to be sitting at a restaurant having a 10-year-old look at someone's private part. So,
like, you've never taken him to the beach? Like, you didn't see somebody in the... I guess they're in Utah, so probably not. I mean, I guess they could go to LA. Was that like maybe 5 hours, 6 hours? Why would you go to the beach in LA?
I got up and I scooted her skirt. I got the skirt and I scooted it down to cover her private part. And the dad.
I got up and scooted her skirt. You hear how she said that? You sound crazy as hell, lady. No, what you did was assault someone. At least battery. Probably assault.
About the dad that was with the 10-year-old, he was like, thank God. And I was like...
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, the 10-year-old. I'm glad he said thank God, which makes it all okay. Yep, you can put your hands on people as long as your 10-year-old says, thank God, Mom. Oh my God. Now I can focus on my iPad that I was playing Fortnite on anyways. He probably didn't even see it. The mom probably pointed it out because she saw it. Kid was probably zoned into his iPad. Didn't even notice anything.
Oh my God, is everything okay? And he's like, I would be accused of sexual harassment if that had happened. And so...
No, now you're going to be charged with something else because you're an idiot.
As I did that, everyone around me that we were sitting, they were all minors. The little girls were like, we shouldn't have to see that. Can't they get in trouble for that? And I was like, at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I probably, you know, should report this or something. And next thing I know, as I'm sitting there listening to all these little teenagers around me, you know, I'll applaud us for at least...
This lady lives in fantasy land. She thinks that all these little teenagers are around applauding her.
No one wants to see that, right? And they don't...
This lady's nuts, y'all.
want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. But we shouldn't...
Too late for that.
...have to see someone's private parts in a restaurant. So, next thing you know, as we're sitting there and we're discussing it, a bunch of the girls' friends come in and they start talking pure shit about me because I did that. So I finally, my boyfriend and I were discussing how to best approach that. And he's like, should we?
My boyfriend and I were discussing on how best to approach that.
You what?
Y'all should have discussed how best to approach the situation in the beginning. That might be too little too late after you put your hands on somebody.
Should we do something? Should we call the police? What should we do? And I was like, no, there's just a bunch of silly little teenagers.
Okay, fine.
I didn't think anything major was going to come out of it.
Thank you.
But they started to make threats. So I finally got up and I was like, listen, I shouldn't have to sit at a restaurant and look at your private parts. It's plain and simple. And I tried to explain to them that the Department of Child Protective Services, and because there was a 10-year-old sitting next to me, and he's the one that pointed out that we could see her private parts, I didn't even get that far, because the next thing I know, I felt like the whole gang of women and their boyfriends, I actually, at that point, my boyfriend was like, I'm afraid they're going to hurt you or hurt me or something.
Oh my god. Lady, you sound crazy as hell. It's like 4 19-year-old girls. What are they going to do? Give you a makeover? It sounds like you need one because you sound crazy as hell. Oh no. Oh, this is nuts. This is nuts. Let's keep going.
So I finally just was like, okay, fine, I'm just going to sit back down. So I sat back down and I was like, we discussed it, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it go. Like, surely they're not stupid enough to do something dumb. Well, today
they're not, but you are.
And I do have screenshots. They started trying to find out on a public forum who I am, my private information. They have since posted on the St. George, I guess, word of mouth, a video of me confronting them, trying to explain to them what happened, but they snipped it and they've put their own twist and agenda on it. So people have actually started to reach out to me to threaten me and all kinds of things because...
Yeah, because you broke the law, lady.
I work for the department.
Not anymore.
I should have called the police at that point. I should have reported it, and you guys could have just done whatever you needed to do. But that would have been resolve the issue, that it would have taken you probably forever to get there. Nothing would have been done, and off they would have gone. And the 10-year-olds and everyone around would have...
Man, what? She's like talking shit to the police right there. She's like, it would have taken forever for y'all to get there because y'all slow as hell and don't even take anything serious. Nothing would have been done because you don't care. Like, and this cop's sitting there like, keep talking, lady. My body cam is a-rolling.
Continue to have looked at the woman's private parts with no one being able to do anything about it. And to me, that isn't right.
Do you have the video you're talking about?
The video of the posting that they posted?
Mm-hmm.
It's on the St. George word of mouth. Yeah, I do.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Facebook
I don't do social
media.
Can you send it to me?
Yep. Yes, I can send it to you. I can also send you the screenshots of them. They actually called me a fat pig and all kinds of things. I mean, and then I do have a text message from my boyfriend because as we were sitting there, and
that's not illegal. I mean, it might be rude. It also might be accurate. We don't know, but it's not illegal.
I'm explaining to you, the young people around me, they're all from Desert Hills High School, I believe. But they were saying that this particular group of girls, they're called the Slut Squad, and they were just bullies. They bullied everybody around them. And I don't know if any of this...
I guess including you. Yeah, this lady is nuts. These girls are bullies. What are you, like 50 years old? How old is the Utah Karen? How old is the Utah skirt Karen? 49.
Was ever reported, or
these 19-year-old girls were just so mean to me. You're a grown woman. I mean, granted, they are 19, 18, 20, right? They're technically grown, right? They're women, but they're not grown women. They don't have 3 decades of experience.
They have ever been reported as harassing others, but that was the whole agenda of the premise of why we were sitting there. And in my opinion, if 17-year-olds that are going to a high school ball are sitting there calling them bullies and they're known and labeled as the stripper squad.
Oh, you changed it. I thought it was the other one.
In my opinion, they're fully aware that the behavior is not okay. Basically, they're trying to get me fired.
No, you got yourself fired, lady. Take some accountability. You wouldn't lose your job and you wouldn't get fired for telling somebody Just say, hey, you know what? I got kids here. That's inappropriate. That's fine. You can tell somebody they're not gonna get fired for that. Especially if you work for CPS, that's probably most of your job is saying, hey, what you're doing is inappropriate. You have to change it. You have to fix it. You know what I mean? That's probably what you do. The problem is that you put your hands on someone else. That's why you're going to get fired. That's the mistake you made. That's why you're known as the Utah skirt Karen now. And you got 15 million views on the video of you acting crazy. So maybe you had good intentions. Yeah. And maybe she shouldn't have been, wearing whatever she was wearing in there. Probably so. But you know what? The way you handled it was completely wrong and illegal. Oh, these people. YouTube, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new. And come to YouTube, come subscribe. It's the Mystery Project on YouTube. Let's keep going.
And accusing me of sexually inappropriately touching one of them.
Did you touch?
That's what you did.
No, I didn't.
I thought you said you pulled her skirt down.
I did. I touched her skirt, but I didn't touch her.
Her skirt is her, you idiot.
I mean, we can talk about that later, I guess. But after you send me that video, I'll review it, and I'll give you a call back in a little bit, okay?
The officer ends up taking a look at the video that Lorenzo sends him and calls her back. And on the second call, Lorenzo doubles down, saying not only could she see the teen's buttocks, but she could also see her full genitalia.
We tried to address it, and they didn't care.
But you didn't call us.
Like, we can do whatever we want. Right. And that's why I said, listen, I work for, the Department of Child Welfare, and there's children's things, and they just went off. So then I was like, okay, you know what? At that point, so then that's when I was like, okay, I'm pulling it down. So I actually basically got her skirt and covered her private parts. And at that point, everyone behind me applauded, and they were like,
everyone behind me applauded. Oh, okay, so that makes it okay. Oh no, lady. Well, I mean, everybody there applauded me, so obviously what I did was right.
No one wanted to see that, so
I understand, but I just want to make sure that you understand you can't do that.
Yeah, there you go.
I do. However, other than
I do. However,
what I did, how would you recommend that something like that be addressed?
You call us.
You call the police. You talk to the manager so they can call the police.
Over to the restaurant.
It depends on how illegal that is. If she would, for indecent exposure, she has to be actually exposed.
She was.
You could see her.
I could see her. I could see her pubic hairs. I could see everything.
See, now I know you're lying. Yep. Now you know she's lying. You know how? You guys know how, right? She said that she went on Facebook and found out what the name of their group was. The squad and the squad. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So that's what you go by. That's what you're known as. And you're wearing these kind of skirts. But you're not like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, lady. Come on, lady. I don't feel like you'd see what you just said you'd see if what you saw is what you saw.
Underneath the...
It wasn't underneath. She was wearing... The skirt was so short that it had crawled up her buttocks. It was exposing everything.
It's like no underwear?
No underwear.
Okay. Well, okay.
That part checks out as being that kind of squad.
Now, later that night at around 9 p.m., Lorenzo...
This is ridiculous, lady. You leave the restaurant. You leave the damn restaurant, okay? You look over and you're like, oh my God. I'm not I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna make an oysters joke. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna say oyster on the half shell. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna hit play.
Comes to the police station with her son to show the officer some of the messages that she's been receiving.
So these little girls have continued to.
Oh God, lady, you look crazy. You look like you. You look like even the HOA doesn't like you.
Cite a mob, and
you look like you cite the HOA. This lady looks like she's the grammar police for like the HOA letters.
I've been harassed all day. Not only did you take it, they took it down from St. George Post and her Facebook, but now she put it on Instagram and now she put it on TikTok.
Okay.
No, so remember you look at my Instagram account and they've been.
Is that the boyfriend back there?
Harassing me all day. So I turn notifications off and everything, but they are trying to reach out to they're inciting someone that reaches out for personal information to people to get their personal information, or someone that is known to like hunt people down. I'm 100% in believing in freedom of speech but when you omit, delete, and make it seem like one situation is totally different than the other, and then accuse me of sexual harassment without the facts, like.
Lady, what are you talking about? That's a big old word salad right there. That's so much word salad. Are you running in 2028?
At some point.
How dare you?
Something needs to be done. It needs to be stopped, and they have a reputation for doing this.
So watch out! You're about to fly right to the top of the ticket.
Which is why none of the minor kids wanted to get up and say anything.
The hard part is, even if it's edited, omitted, deleted, obviously you could be looking at slander if it's not completely true, but the fact that you did touch her skirt, she can claim, if she wants, she can claim sexual battery, right?
Dang, see that part.
She hasn't. There's no legal investigation right now on either of you. Nobody's in trouble right now for any of that stuff, but it would have to be founded, right, on both ends, right? We know that you saw this.
This lady is great. Look, no way someone wearing a miniskirt would sit on a public restaurant chair with no underneath garments. Can't control when our bodies liquidate. Laura. I mean, that doesn't make sense either. Like, why would you go to a restaurant with like nothing like that? You go sit on that dirty. That's a good point. You get sit in that dirty ass booth. Holy hell! If I wear shorts in the summertime, I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna stick to them, you know, like trying to stand up. Oh hell, no.
We don't have any video evidence of her hanging out. We don't have any witnesses that have come forward and said this is what's happening, other than I only have your account.
And everyone thought she was a minor because she did look like a minor, and there was a ton.
Okay, so you thought she was a minor and you went and did the same thing? You are crazy, lady.
Kids, it was the high school ball.
Did you think she was a minor?
Yes, I did. I actually thought.
That's worse. That is worse, you sicko. So you just admitted to thinking that someone was underage and you still went up and put your hands on them like that? You are crazy, lady. Shut up. You need to stop talking. Whoever that is behind you that's with you needs to be like, girlfriend, or if that's your son or whatever, needs to be like, what are you doing right now?
And that's why I was like,
I just don't understand.
So he got
I don't understand why
charged.
you went up and touched her.
I didn't touch her as a person. Like,
I mean, you could find it. But you see how that looks, right?
I got a standing ovation from everyone that was seating me.
This lady is nuts. Everybody gave me a standing ovation. Great. Now put your hands behind your back.
That's totally beside the point legally.
And a little bit of an interesting thing to note here is that when the body camera video is redacted or muted, there's an explanation as to why in the bottom corner of the screen. So at one point, comments from Lorenzo are muted, and the reason given is, quote, it's clearly unwarranted invasion. Now, Lorenzo continues to insist that she had no choice but to step in and take action.
Was trying to, you could see me on the video trying to dial the phone.
It would take too long for us to get there, so you did.
No, that's what but I was trying to dial you guys, but because they had everyone storming in and you could see how they were being
They thought she was sexually battered.
Yeah, exactly.
That's her claim.
That's her claim. That's her
claim. And all she knows is somebody grabbed her from behind.
No, because I told her that her parts were hanging out. And then when nothing was being done and all the little kids behind me were just staring. That's when I proceeded to cover, and I was trying to dial. I mean, you see me on the video where I have my phone in hand and I'm trying to dial, but I couldn't even dial. And then that's when the owner was coming up. So it's all
I understand that
perception.
there's inappropriateness with how she's dressed. I can totally understand that portion. I can understand that things got blown out of proportion, and I can understand your standpoint from it. But I guess, what do you want me to do?
Well, the post needs to come down and they need to stop.
I think she said, I totally believe in freedom of speech. Well, somebody says something bad about me, so I want it taken down. That's not how it works, lady. You are crazy.
There's no crime.
Not when
They can say whatever they want.
No, but I mean, they're reaching me all their little friends.
Have you told them to stop talking to you?
No, because.
Try that.
No, because then that is me.
Have you tried to tell them? Have you tried turning it off and back on again? No.
Me instigating them.
But that's the only way that they can be harassing you. If you tell them to not contact you and then they contact you, then that's criminal.
Well,
If you don't say anything and you're engaging in it, then this is just a civil banter that the unfortunate thing is you're held to a little bit higher standard than that.
Oh, but then if I engage in a conversation, then that makes it appear like
You don't have to.
I am.
I'm just telling you, I can't do much. As it is a crime. You cannot touch somebody if they do not want to be touched. And especially if it's in the area, you pull her skirt down and that's touching her buttocks.
Well, I didn't touch her buttocks.
But her skirt is.
Her skirt was way beyond her buttock. I mean,
I'm saying what was she say?
Above her privates.
What will she say? And the classification for disorder.
Yeah, but lady, you said you pulled it down. So would you pulled it from her back to her freaking knees without touching anything else? Think about what you're saying. I pulled the skirt. Well, what's the skirt attached to? What are you saying, lady? Oh my God.
The conduct for you touching her is nothing but sexual battery is a class A. And how do we prove that?
Well, just contact your employers, let them know the situation and that they might be getting.
Well, I talked to one of the attorneys and they're like, I talked to my boss.
Body cam, then muted again for another, quote, clearly unwarranted invasion. And the next day, the teen on the other end of the video, as well as some of her friends who were witnesses, come down to the police station to give their side. So the officer lets them know what Lorenzo had to say about the situation.
Ladies, thank you for coming in. I know this has been an ongoing thing. We talked on the phone yesterday, right? Okay, here's witness statements. Did we talk about that a little bit? You guys all aware of what I was saying for statements and witnesses? Anybody there?
Yes.
Okay, so
we have more people coming.
Oh, for tonight?
Yes, right now.
Beautiful. So, I've been talked to by the female Ida that came in here, and she's called me a bunch of times, trying to explain that, Avery, you walked in and your skirt was so short, and that she was sitting behind you, and a 10-year-old boy basically pointed at what she said was your exposed, as her words.
Right.
And I said, what do you mean? She's like, I could see her pubic hair, I could see her.
Can I ask them real quick?
She's saying what I said earlier, y'all. She's saying they redacted it, but she's saying I could see her face, her eyes, the way she's like. She's saying, officer, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. You get it? Look, that last, she said it. Y'all, she said it. Look at her, read her lips, that last little part right there. She said,
This is what I'm getting told.
Okay.
So she told me pubic hair specifically.
Blah, 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 blah.
And that was strange to me, right? Like, if we're
Look at her friend right there. Look at the friend on the right. She's just like, this bitch crazy. Oh no.
in high skirt, I'm like, then you're saying this through the underwear instead of.
They don't even look like bad kids. You know what I mean? Like sometimes be like, oh yeah, that's like those kids look like they're trouble. They don't look like bad kids.
She couldn't have been wearing underwear. So you're telling me you saw her entire form, and she said yes. I said the opening, and she said yes.
What in the hell is going on?
Yes. So that was what I thought I was dealing with. I was like, well, and then she went off on her thing, telling me what was going on about
whatever.
The victim tells the officer what happened and even sends him a video of herself from that night wearing a white miniskirt.
Did she talk to you first or did she come up?
I mean, it's short, but you can't see anything.
A white miniskirt.
No, that's not one of those skirts either that, like, you know what I mean, would, like...
Did she talk to you first or did she come up?
She came up.
And it already looked like the skirt was over her belly button right there and still covering. Look. Look, see? Like, y'all see what I'm seeing?
And even sends him a video of herself from that night wearing
like, this skirt's already higher than her belly button right there, I think.
a white miniskirt.
Did she talk to you first or did she come up?
She came up, reached her hands, her cold hands went up my skirt, and I felt her hands up my skirt, and then I felt like a tug, and like my skirt doesn't go down much farther, like it's not that short of a skirt, and so I felt
It's a short skirt. She said it's not that short of a skirt. It's pretty short.
tug, and I like whip around thinking it's one of my friends or something, and I'm just kind of standing there in shock. 'Cause I'm like, here's this woman I don't know who just came up and touched my bare butt. Like, I have no clue who this is. And like, not even the physical side of things, but mentally, like, I'm struggling so much with weight problems, and for her to come up and do that and make me feel even more insecure in my own body is outrageous to me. So she came up, did that, and then she touches me, or she does that, and then she says, "You're underage, you should probably hide that. If you think I'm underage, why are you touching a minor at all? Especially if you think I don't have underwear on."
Yeah, that's exactly what I said a second ago, too.
Yeah, the logic wasn't there.
No.
For me.
No.
That's why I was wondering when you mentioned that you thought she might be drinking, I thought there's a judgment issue maybe going on too.
Right.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. She'd already hit the bar while she was waiting on the table.
The teen recounts her story. More members of her friend group arrive to give statements.
So anybody that's willing to fill out one of these is how this goes forward. Because we weren't contacted at the call at the time when it happened, I wasn't there, right? All the facts I have are after the fact, and I have her story, your story, right? We always have that classic he said, she said, or she said, whatever. And it comes down to witnesses and people that were there. It comes down to the statements and what is in them and what the facts of the case will be. And it also comes down to any defense that could be plausible or deniable that could have or could not have happened. Everything that I've been told from her didn't make as much
Okay, now it's starting to look like the crew that you probably wouldn't want to do this to.
sense until just barely. Right, so now I kind of feel like I got both sides. And the both sides to me, I already told her, there's no question about it. Even when she told me, I said, yeah, but you have to understand that what you did is criminal. If she calls in this girl, that potentially, if she's claiming sexual assault, I said, who are you? You can't control what she feels, right? If she feels that and there's facts to it, if it was just a skirt, if it was just clothing, and technically that's even part of the code that if it's in that area, but over the clothing counts. But where you're saying that you felt her cold hands, that's pretty descriptive to me to
That is nuts.
indicate that that probably happened. Now that's where your statement becomes lawful and legally binding, and then that goes through the court to where it becomes like as if I was there.
In the following days, the officer goes to that Japanese restaurant, Sakura, and takes a look at surveillance video.
Ooh, we get to see the video. Y'all, TikTok, come over to YouTube right now. The Mystery Project. We're going to see the video. We're going to see if the hands actually went
of the waiting area.
You know?
And
look, that lady already had it on her phone. Did you see that?
On April 24th, the officer has Lorenzo come down to the station to fill out an official report. And that is when he tells her that she definitely committed a crime and was going to jail.
Okay, so I told you I'd do a full investigation if they came forward, right? So they came forward with their side of the story. I only had yours. After listening to everything, totality about everything going on, I've talked to Sakura. I've got some of their video. I've got the TikToks. I think most everybody in the city has that TikTok. I have some questions and some statements, but I'm going to advise you of your rights because of the severity of what the claims were, okay?
Right, and of course, you're going to get their perspective because
he got their side of the story. This lady how did you get through life? Like, how did you even work at CPS. Well, you got their side of the story, so it's obvious that their side of the story. Yeah. And video evidence.
We're not behind her. They didn't see her, right? And so.
And you're also sitting down looking up, right?
Well, I, as an adult, right? But the little 10-year-old that was next to me is actually even lower than I am. But her skirt was hiked up, and no one, I think, that was sitting behind her will deny that it was beyond just her little crease. She was like exposing her whole, like, I'm telling you, we could see everything. I would not have.
Then you ask her to, hey, can you not do that? And if she says no, then you leave.
Pull down her skirt to
You don't go up and pull down her damn skirt.
Cover her.
Gotcha.
Like,
Sure, let's get through it then really as fast as we can, then we can be done. Okay. So, right to remain, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney and have them present with you or being questioned if you cannot afford to.
No, I wish they didn't have her face blurred right now so we could see her just like.
Hire an attorney when will be appointed to represent you for any question. If you wish, choose to answer my questions without counsel present. You can stop answering questions at any time. You can also request counsel at any time during questioning. Any questions about those rights?
No.
Okay, you understand them?
Yep.
Okay. From the get-go, I know this was a situation where if you do see something inappropriate, and it is inappropriate, call us. Correct, right?
Right.
And if there's a 10-year-old boy that you need to protect and his dad's sitting next to him, you're not his mother. And even if you work, that's even more reason for us to call us.
Oh, the 10-year-old wasn't hers? This gets crazier and crazier. The 10-year-old was just some kid that was sitting there?
And let's work together,
right.
And we'll open up a case if that's the case, right? You mentioned that you saw this girl's whole. You've told me you saw.
Thank God they blurred it out, though, or they beat
the
creases, all of the above.
Yep.
The girl has sent me a video of her twirling in that skirt, photos of the skirt. She was wearing underwear and shorts underneath her underwear.
She was not wearing, I don't know.
She sent him a video of it, lady. You are crazy.
When that video was taken or...
And you're going to jail.
Same outfit.
Right. Of course, but... I mean, was it at the time when everything was exposed? Probably not.
You're telling me you saw...
twirling in...
You're telling me you saw her skin vagina.
Dang it. They didn't bleep that one out. TikTok overlords, entertainment, educational purposes only. Y'all come over to YouTube. The Mystery Project on YouTube. They're about to get mad as hell at this live. Come on over, y'all. Come on over. The Mystery Project. I'll see you over there. Whoo! Gotta hurry before TikTok gets crazy. All right, let's finish this off.
You could see, yes, you could actually see, like, the whole...
So in your video, in all the videos and all of your statements in those videos and to her and through messages, it's all been ass cheeks. I shouldn't have to see your ass cheeks. So why you say that instead of I shouldn't have to see your vagina? That'd be a very much different thing to say.
Do you want me to put out there into the whole world that I saw her vagina?
I don't want you to touch her first off.
Yeah. What the hell?
Well,
so then you approach her, right? And she reports that she felt your cold hands on her buttocks.
Which is...
And also, the sexual battery code is overclothing or underclothing. Those are areas. That's like me touching your bra and saying I didn't grope you.
Okay, I did not touch her skin, and...
But do you understand the claims?
I understand the claims, but...
I understand it's very inappropriate to approach her in the first place. We already addressed that a million times.
Right.
That's why I get these statements, right? So she's got plausible deniability that she wasn't lewd, right? And you've got your written statement that you've seen her full form.
And I also have the text message from the person that was sitting right next to me that also is admitting that she was lewd, that we could see everything. And I
just don't understand why it was completely all about butt cheeks. Here's the other thing that I was trying to figure out too.
No, actually, in my text message to the person that was sitting right next to me, it's private. So when there, I actually do say, should we be sitting there watching a 10-year-old look at her? And so in...
Oh, okay, I see. They were saying a different word than that. That's why they bleeped out that word. Okay.
That respect, it's in writing where, and he says, true, That is true. Like,
I was also concerned when you said, why didn't you call the cops? You said because it would have taken too long.
no, that was my communication.
But why not
to you.
say to the dad, hey, how about we move this 10-year-old away from this if that was the case? I mean, just starters, right?
Yup, I said that too.
Before you approach somebody and touch them.
Well, no, intent is everything, and I wasn't intending to sexually harass
Intent is
her.
nothing for the victim. Intent is everything for you. But that's not how. If I walked up behind you and I thought your skirt was short and I tugged on it, you'd be like, "Why are you touching me?" For any reason ever. Everybody has at least an expectation of privacy, and if it's inappropriate, that's why we have a job. Call us.
Right, but
Please, like, we will address it.
There was, as I'm sure you saw in the video, they were all starting to gather and mob in. So at that point,
That was after you touched her.
Well, that was.
They wouldn't have done that if you didn't approach her. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, she's starting to see that her whole house of cards is crumbling down.
The hardest part for me with this is I understand your concerns as maybe a mother and as a community citizen. I get that. But
Well, not to mention
you
that
took action on this. There was no incident. You created it. You put it into action. The consequences of your actions have been all of this. This has nothing to do with them.
Well, because she's saying that I did I sexually harassed her. I sexually assaulted her. I did not sexually assault her. I attempted to cover up what I thought
For state code, you did, which is the hard part for me. The other hard part is when I'm looking at this video and I'm seeing the way you're talking, some of your facial mannerisms. I promise if you were driving a vehicle, I probably would have asked you to do tests. How much did you drink that night?
I actually hadn't been drinking at all.
You were not drinking at all?
Oh, Lord.
No, not before that.
Not before, it was after?
Right. We had dinner. We actually sat down and we had dinner.
You don't think alcohol is impairing your judgment for this?
No. I actually thought she was a high school student.
That's worse.
The rest of all
That's
the
what
kids
I mean.
over there.
That's worse. That makes it worse for me. I don't like that. The other part is I didn't, completely unprovoked, she calls me and she's like, I had to report something that's been happening. And she gives me the details of what happened. And I'm like, wow, that makes sense now that I have both sides. That's very concerning. Now, typically with something like this where I don't have video, if I didn't have video footage, it'd probably be going a different route with this because there's video footage and because of the claims made and I have to protect victims. Today you're going to be placed under arrest for sexual battery. Okay? So that's the unfortunate side of all this.
You're arresting me?
You're right now.
This lady is so
under arrest,
crazy.
okay? So if you'll just face my sergeant and put your hands behind your back.
Don't reach in your purse, please.
No, I was just trying to put that.
Just follow those instructions.
Or just relax your hands, sir.
Do you have a vehicle here?
Yeah.
It's so
No.
We can keep it protected.
Come get your car.
I'm sorry, what?
Is there somebody we can call for you to have them come pick up your vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Lorenzo's taken into custody, transported to jail. She was officially charged with sexual battery, a Class A misdemeanor.
Have anything concealed on you that's illegal? No drugs, guns,
short skirts,
bombs, that kind of stuff. Wearing a bra?
Yeah.
Nothing in your bra?
No.
Okay, they go through a body scanner, so just tell everybody that. I'm not concerned with you shooting me in the back of the head. Are you going to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I
Should be worried about her pulling down your pants, though.
honestly like.
Standard questions we have to ask everybody.
Oh, okay.
Lorenzo was booked into Purgatory Correctional Facility in Hurricane, Utah, posted bond soon after. According to Utah media outlet KSL, Lorenzo had been hired as a legal secretary with the Attorney General's office on March 4th, but was then fired on April 25th. According to KSL, her termination letter read, I am writing to inform you that you have not passed your probationary employment period successfully, and today, April 25th, 2024, you are being separated from state employment with the Attorney General's office. Your noncompliance with policies and standards related to performance contributed to this decision.
Damn, this lady ruined her whole life. Well, maybe not ruined her whole life, but definitely screwed some things up, all for a skirt.
Fast forward to July 2024, Lorenzo entered a no contest plea to a single misdemeanor count of sexual battery under the agreement, according to court documents reviewed by ABC4. Her plea would be held in abeyance for a year, so as long as Lorenzo doesn't break the law or
Oh no, what'd she do? You know she did something.
Contact the victim, undergoes a mental health evaluation, her case is going to be dismissed. But if she messes up anywhere along the way, she could face a maximum penalty of 180 days in jail.
Oh, man. Lady, that's why you don't touch people. That's why you don't touch people. YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button if you like the video. Subscribe if you're new, because when we go live on TikTok, we're always live on YouTube and X and Rumble and everything else at the same time. So whatever platform you enjoy, come find me at. I'm going to do some more tonight, y'all. So